Hi everyone. Are you sick of book talk hype? I found three books that I think are worth the hype, so maybe this will help. These are all three romance-ish books, although you'll see what I mean, the distinction. But here are three very popular TikTok books and what I think of them. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first book is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This book is gorgeous. I gave it 5 stars. Unlike the other two books that I'm going to talk about, this is a book about a romantic relationship, but it's not a romance. It's more a literary fiction, so it's really about these two characters on this journey. It follows them in these snippets, sort of, from high school until just after college, and just sort of traces their lives and journey and relationship through that time. So this book is not an easy read. I mean, it's easy to read, and I felt like I flew through it, but it's a little bit hurty on the soul. Also, my son saw this palette in Walgreens and bought it for me, which I really like the colors, but I just thought this was funny. As I've said before, as I've been reading these romances, I feel like I so often do not understand character motivations. But this book shows us what's behind the characters' personalities, their motivations, their decisions, in a way that I have not seen. It's some of it is really devastating, but it is very, very honest and beautifully done. Also as like an exceptionalist American, I found the culture of the small town that they're from near Sligo, Ireland, really, really interesting. It kind of gives these characters more input fodder for what makes them them. They come from such a small little community. They all sort of know each other. So even though she's kind of an outcast, she's still like a presence. And that was really interesting. And also just how like there's sort of a guilt and a shame, it seems, for Connell about like dreaming bigger and wanting more for his life, and just like that's not something he was raised with. So I thought that was really interesting. And plus the audiobook narrator, Aoife McMahon, the Irish audiobook narrator, it was just really gorgeous to listen to her read. The Hulu miniseries is a very faithful adaptation, and it's really, really good. If you've seen it, you maybe don't need to read the book because it's so faithful. Um, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's beautiful. And of course, Daisy Edgar Jones and Paul Mescal are not only beautifully and perfectly cast, but they are themselves beautiful, and it just makes for a nice and also devastating watching experience. So I'd say no if you're looking for a light and a happy romance, because this is not that. If you love a slice of life story where you get down and dirty with your characters, this is a really, really good book. Next up is Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. This was my favorite Ali Hazelwood book to date. I wasn't sure about it because I kept hearing about this thing, the Omegaverse, and I had to Google that, and when I read about it, I was like, eh. Werewolves and vampires, I could take or leave. But I loved these two characters. Misery is my dream FMC. She has some insecurities, but not like the low self-esteem that drives me crazy. And at least you understand where her insecurities come from. She was just so vibrant and so well written and like legit hilarious. I laughed out loud so much during this book. And then Low, I mean, how can you not? I saw a lot of chat on Book Talk about the knot and knotting, and honestly, meh. I didn't think that particular part was anything to write home about. I don't understand why it's like causing such a stir on Book Talk. It's just like, okay. I mean, sure, the spice was nice, but that's not what stuck with me about this book. I loved their dynamic and how it felt like real, actual falling in love. Also, I don't normally care about world building and politics in a book like this, but I just thought this one did it in a way that was really, really well done and very relevant. I thought it very cleverly got into some kind of deeper topics in a very relatable and relevant way, and that was impressive to me. I mean, there are themes of stereotyping and segregation, cultural differences that I think are handled in such an honest and unpreachy way. So I would say no if you really don't like fantasy elements in your romance, or if you like to eschew graphic spice. But this one is a yes from me, dog. And yes, pun is intended. Okay, and the last one is Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love by Brigitte Knightley. Okay, yes, this is another Draco Hermione fanfic, but hear me out. I'm giving it 5 stars. And if you don't want to take my word for it, this book, like with Sen Lin Yu and Manacled, got this author, so much fame and good name that she actually picked up a book deal and an agent. It's that good. I will definitely be reading anything else she puts out. So Hermione is a healer slash doctor slash professor slash researcher, and she's working on this top secret but very important, like, discovery, scientific discovery, and the Auror's office has to protect her. And Draco is a kind of lazy, entitled Auror, who works with Harry and Ron, which that dynamic is kind of funny. And he is the one that's assigned to her. Sparks fly, they soar, they go everywhere. I mean, when I tell you, this is some of the best romantic banter I have ever read. Every single one of their interactions was both hot and hilarious. I couldn't wait for them to just like be together interacting. It's all from his point of view, which was really lovely. And it made me realize that I want to read more books that are from the guy's point of view because it was so sweet and so honest. And without our benefit of her point of view, we were kind of in the dark with him about as to, like, her feelings towards him. So it didn't feel as frustrating to me. I was sort of like on that journey with him. Unlike many other Hermione fanfics, this is light fare. This is not the soul devastation that was Manacled. This is a rom com. But maybe because it's Draco and Hermione, and there's some immediate gravitas and import around that, it does feel like stakes are higher and things like that, and it gives it more than just being a rom com. Does that make sense? There is spice, but not until the end. Think Bridgerton season 2. It's a lot of sexual tension. There's also definitely a plot. There's capers, there's adventure, there's danger, there's drama. I mean, it was almost 600 pages, but it has momentum. I flew through it really fast. But just the way that she writes about them falling in love is stunning. I actually had to stop and like have a glass of wine because my heart. After reading this and Manacled, I kind of feel like I want to read more fan fiction because it might be this world where there's all this undiscovered talent. So if you're not a fan fiction fan or you're not a Hermione stan, I guess no, but I think this book might make you one. But this one is a full yes from me. Okay, so those are my three last reads that all happen to be popular book talk books, and my thoughts. I think they're all good. I think you wouldn't be disappointed. And that's it. That's the look. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.